We're starting with Guru Jam, India's biggest suburb of the national capital, Gurgaon, completely gridlocked by traffic, a 25-kilometer long traffic jam, a harrowing morning for people traveling through this suburb of Delhi. Heavy traffic jams are being reported from across the Millennium City, as it's called, after incessant rains over the last 10 to 15 hours. Section 144, which prohibits the crowding of people, has been imposed by the police, which is struggling to bring the situation under control. Commuters have reportedly been struck in a monstrous traffic jam on the Delhi Gurgaon expressway for the last 8 to 10 hours. This route remains extremely busy during conventional office hours, and waterlogging has made matters infinitely worse. Heavy rains have led to gridlocks at major intersections. Highways are paralyzed. Most schools have decided to remain closed today. The Gurgaon police is requesting people to remain indoors and avoid using private vehicles. People are also being advised to avoid the Gurgaon-Jaipur National Highway, where vehicles have been stuck since last night. If you're stranded in traffic and want to share pictures with us, you can tweet them to us on our Twitter handle @IndiaToday. We're going to be playing out your pictures. And this is also a call-in show where we've opened up our phone lines. We'd like to hear your voice. 0120-480-7310 is the number to call. We'd like to hear what you have to say, especially if you're stranded in any of these cities and the urban apathy that has sunk our metros. I want to take you first straight across live to India Today's executive editor, Gaurav Sawant, who's on the ground in Gurgaon itself. He's in the cyber hub, the most upscale commercial center of Gurgaon, and really the place in Gurgaon, Gaurav, that has put this Delhi suburb on the world map for its massive multinational headquarters that are actually situated there. What a nightmare for Gurgaon today. What's the situation now, Gaurav?
An absolute nightmare, as you rightly put out. Of course, at this point of time, the national highway, Shiv, is open. But if you just look around, traffic jams have already started on these roads. What's compounding the problem? Apart from massive rain, what's compounding the problem are bad roads. Traffic slows down because of bad roads. So many potholes on the road that you don't know where to drive and where not to drive. And one vehicle packs up. Even if one vehicle packs up, and this is what is happening, because we spoke to the traffic management people here, and they said the number of vehicles that have packed up, they've slowed down the traffic completely. So now the administration is saying, please have flexible hours. Instead of leaving at 5:30, leave right away.
Yes.
So 4 p.m. onwards, people are allowed to go home. But every couple of minutes, people just stop here and say it's an absolute nightmare. So schools are shut at this point of time. They may have to remain shut if it starts raining once again. So it's very clouded at this point of time. Should it start raining? And that's what the administration says. Usually they have 19 millimeters of rain, but just now it's 3 times that rain that's happened just in 4 hours last night. And that is why this snarl took place. So now people are being advised to go home early so that there are no snarls. The administration is now on the streets, but the question is, what were they doing in the past 2 years, especially when it comes to roads, when it comes to drainage system, and when it comes to traffic management? In all these, Gurugram has been found wanting, Shiv.
Gaurav, stay with me. Nightmare situation, and we can see in these live pictures you're sending us that the traffic is building up. It's going to get a whole lot worse with peak rush hour traffic looming right ahead. In the next few minutes, people will be rushing out of their offices. It's likely to get a whole lot worse. We've already got a caller, incidentally, from Srinagar. MK Vats is our first caller calling in from Srinagar. Mr. Vats, go ahead. What would you like to say?
Good morning, sir. I'm MK Bhatt from Srinagar, Kashmir. I want to speak about this massive jam of floods and massive jam of this transport. I'm ashamed about these things, that nothing is going smooth in this country.
Yes.
I'm fed up with this country's politics and every administration. What's happened, the people are suffering. We should lick the feet of the Denmark and Singapore countries and show that these things to the politicians, administrators of our country. I am fed up of this. Our Nirad C. Chaudhary has left this place to England, and he was part of this place, a great writer. These things should be looked by the administrators and politicians. They are enjoying in the high palatial houses, and the poor and people are suffering in all corners of the life. Thank you.
Mr. Vats, thank you for calling. Mohit calling in from Kolkata. Next caller, Mohit, go ahead.
Yeah, hi. I wanted to say that it's very sad to see the current situation of infrastructure across India. And if you notice that if you have to build infra for a whole country, it takes concerted efforts for 2 to 3 decades. Like built there over a period of maybe 3 to 4 decades. Now, I want to ask Sonia Gandhi, Rahul Gandhi and Congress that what they have done with India over the past 30 years, because they were the ones who were in power across whole of India for a majority of the last 70 years. Now, while they were looting billions of dollars from Indians, why didn't they spend that money on infra so that today we were not in such a bad situation?
It's a very, very bad situation as far as money spent, as far as priorities is concerned. We've got a caller from Gurgaon, Delhi suburb, which is actually being affected in a very, very bad way right now. Atul, go ahead. How much has the current crisis affected you personally?
Oh yeah, it's really affected all of us. People who stay in Gurgaon are really feeling so badly let down by the politician, whether the previous caller said it's because of the Congress or the BJP, which came in with a lot of promises. They got so much to do for saving cows. Who is going to save human beings?
Absolutely.
Right? I mean, if I'm going to spend 14 hours on the road without food, without water, safety, what is going to happen to people? And then of all the things, you find only one guy in the line called Kejriwal to blame. I think Mr. Khattar needs to go.
All right. I feel your anger. I totally feel your anger, Atul, because the political fight that's broken out is ugly. It's unnecessary. The priority right now should be to try and get things back on track, both in Bengaluru and in Gurgaon, Delhi's biggest suburb. Anthony calling in again from Gurgaon. He's our next caller. Anthony, go ahead. Tell us what your experience has been in Gurgaon today.
My experience has been really horrible. It's not only today and the day before that. In fact, day before yesterday, it rained just 5 millimeters.
Yeah.
And Hero Honda Chowk was flooded, and the same thing. And these guys, I think they're all cheats. Each and every of these municipal guys are cheats, because the roads are made and then they get broken up within maybe 6 months' time.
Correct. So you're saying it's corruption. It's corruption is involved.
Yeah, it's terrible, and I think, I don't know what our union, this NHAI, minister for this roads is doing, because he's aware of the fact that this is a really trouble spot. Hero Honda Chowk gets jammed. Even if there's a 1 mm of rain, it gets jammed. So he's doing nothing about it. I don't know if they keep making plans and things like that, and there's some construction work going on, but things really don't happen. I think no one is serious. It's just eating up the money, which they get from the public.
Anthony, I don't know how many years you've lived in Gurgaon, but, I'm assuming that people who have shifted to Gurgaon, in their minds had a certain promise of a kind of, quality of life, quality of infrastructure. Do you feel, betrayed and abandoned and lied to by, when you see things like this?
Yeah, I'm living here from 2007 onwards, and not a thing has improved. In fact, it's outside my house. It's virtually impossible to travel because there's no road. It's worse than a gaon. I mean, we call it the Millennium City, but I tell you, it's a Millennium Gaon. It's, the worst thing you can experience. Even I've gone to villages, and the roads are much better there than they are in Gurgaon.
Anthony, I feel your anger, I feel your pain. Some of my work takes me to Gurgaon, even though I live on the other side of town. But I can tell you, I know precisely what you're talking about. And I can tell you that millions of Indians today know what you're talking about, because there's anger not just in Gurgaon, but also in Bengaluru, in Pune, in Mumbai, in India's national capital of Delhi and its suburbs as well. A little bit of rain and things have gone completely out of whack. Let's shift our spotlight from Gurgaon to Bengaluru. We've got our caller from Bengaluru calling right now. I'd like to put up our pictures of Bengaluru there to show you what it's like in that city. M. Krishna is our caller right now. Mr. Krishna, go ahead. What would you like to say? Where in Bengaluru are you and what do you think about the situation?
See, I'm calling from HSR layout near
Yes.
Madiwala area. There are some 927 lakes were there in Bangalore. Now
Yes.
only 200 left. They are all sewage tanks. And all the roads are constructed to a standard which is not known to human race.
Yes.
The corruption is so much that, the roads are constructed, half the thickness, and there is water drain. The drainage line is practically filled with the garbage, and absolutely no government in Karnataka. And then while coming to Gurgaon, till 2011, everything was mud road. Traveling in those roads, I had a back pain because
You're right. Yes.
Such, it is not having any proper suspension. And all the roads are made so badly and without drain point, As recent as 2 months back also I was traveling. Roads are so badly constructed, and we should arrest all these engineers. There should be a law to arrest all these fellows and put them in jail.
The problem is, sir, that there are enough laws in this country. The corruption, criminal negligence, not delivering on time. There are enough laws in this country to put people who indulge in this kind of corrupt nexus that is killing our cities into jail instantly. It's a matter of enforcement. It's a matter of political will to actually make sure that people are serving citizens, not ruling over them. These corrupt nexuses have actually been allowed to flourish for so long. I want to get you a ground report now, because here on India Today, we don't believe in studios. We believe in getting you onto the ground as a viewer to give you a first-hand sense of what things are really like. Here's Pratibha Raman right in the middle of where things are happening in Bengaluru at this time.
One can imagine the side effects of such kind of deluge. In fact, what you see is a snake here that was actually caught by one of the rescuers here, which actually went into one of the households mainly because of the water-logged areas here, and due to which none of them really realized it. So one can imagine the panic and the tension that is gripping here, the kind of diseases, the insects that this area will be prone to. Will the authorities actually take a look at this to ensure that such kind of events do not really recur in such parts of Bengaluru, though being given the tag of IT city and garden city, the ground reality is completely different. Will the authorities actually take a look, because Bengaluru is also prone to snakes? That is one of the things that we have actually found out from the corporations, the kind of rescue operations, not just people, but even have to be worried about snakes as well as other insects here. Pratibha Raman, Bengaluru, India Today.
All right, so that was an innocent visitor in the middle of that nightmare. A snake found in the floodwaters where people are being rescued in one part of that city. Suraj calling in from Bengaluru is our next caller. We're getting a huge number of calls, and we'd like to encourage our viewers to keep calling because we'd like to put as many of your voices on air. Suraj, thanks for calling. What would you like to say?
Yes, sir. Good evening.
Yes.
Thing is, this is like Mr. Mohandas Pai was saying, these politicians are just sitting back home, and I don't know, they're waiting for the boxes of cash which is coming home. That's all. They're just not bothered about what is happening around with the people around here. Now, at this point of time, I am safe at home, but there is a complaint which have been raised few months ago, where a drain water close to my house. It's a big drain water.
Yeah.
Okay. So the wall of the drain water has been broken down for some activity there. But till date, we have been complaining these civic authorities, but absolutely there is no action at all. And and we are really fearing now, seeing the other low-lying areas. We are fearing that we may also face the same kind of situation.
It's a your anger. I don't want to call it cynicism, because I, by my nature, am a cynical person, and I feel your anger. I belong to Bengaluru. That is my native place. It's a city that I visit very often. My parents still live there. It's a city that has to face the same kind of situation year after year after year. Touted as one of India's most modern and cosmopolitan and rising cities, this is the disgusting situation that Bengalurians have to encounter and experience with every single passing year. A little bit of rain and this is what happens. Surya is our next caller, calling in from Vijayawada. Surya, go ahead. What would you like to say about what's happening in our biggest cities?
Yes, sir. Hello.
Surya, please go ahead.
Hello. I can't understand why our government is collecting taxes from our
Okay, Surya, you need to reduce the volume on your TV, otherwise you won't be able to hear me.
I can't understand why our government is collecting tax from us, like house tax, road tax. They are not providing any roads for us. Then why they are collecting tax from us?
This is the most common but the most pertinent question that our viewers are asking us. And let's not dismiss these questions because these are not simplistic. The general sense is, why are people paying taxes if they cannot be assured of a rain-proof city? Isn't having a rain-proof city one of the basic expectations of a person either shifting into a city or being in that city and actually paying taxes? That's, probably the most tragic questions that citizens in this country are going to be faced with. With the increasing amount of urbanization, are we simply inheriting cities that are going to be completely destroyed by even one night of rain? Rahul calling in from Hyderabad. Our next caller, Rahul, go ahead.
Hi, I was actually going through this whole scenarios which is happening in Bengaluru and Gurgaon. Very unfortunate. What I cannot find is a single political neta,
yes,
or you might say the leader.
They're too busy fighting.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. The politicians, Rahul, are too busy fighting to do anything else.
Correct. So why are we paying taxes is a very common question. And who actually are facing the problem? That's again a big question to get answered. But it's very unfortunate what is happening in India so long, and there is nothing going to change, which I believe India is not going to change for even in next 60 years.
I sincerely hope you're wrong. I like to live in some kind of hope that things will get better, but I also agree and empathize with your view that the way things are, it doesn't look good. It looks like things are actually only getting worse and worse. In this age of social media, of instant media, of people knowing about everything that happens around them, this is the situation in our biggest cities. Krishnan is calling in from Chennai. Krishnan, Chennai experienced this kind of nightmare on a much larger, much worse scale not very long ago, only a few months ago. What do you feel, Krishnan, when you see images like this in our other big cities, not just Chennai, but Delhi, Gurgaon, Mumbai and Bengaluru?
Yes, sir, it's an eye-opener and we should be ashamed, sir. Like, actually what I wanted to tell was, see, in economics, you invest monies every year in infrastructure as well as people's welfare.
Yes.
And if you take London, Rome and all the advanced countries like New York, this infrastructure which is invested year after year keeps adding up, and it's a total infrastructure available for the people. It performs splendidly. But in India, all this infrastructure which they invest, within a year it gets eroded or destroyed.
It's just gone,
there's a
yes.
school next to my compound. It was a 5,000 square feet school built, and within 1 year it collapsed. So, this executive is the basic people behind this corruption.
Yes.
They have something called as mamul or a cut, where, they regularly, approve inferior kind of work done.
Absolutely.
And, this results in infrastructure being shown on budget, shown on papers, but in reality it will not exist. And
this is a chronic situation. I hear what you're saying, Krishna. This is a chronic situation that is equally applicable to Gurgaon as well as Bengaluru today, as it was with Chennai last year during those devastating floods. The spotlight of India today is going to be on these cities today. No other story is more important than what's happening to our cities with millions of citizens, including our viewers here on India Today, as you've heard over the last hour on this special show, directly affected by what's going on. There are emergency cases, there are pregnant people, there are people who need medical care urgently, and the one thing they cannot expect is a rain-proof city and the empathy of netas who should be on the ground actually helping them. They're too busy in their rain-proof localities in the city with roads that can actually withstand the crisis. From Gurgaon to Mumbai, from Bengaluru to Delhi, India Today's spotlight continues to be on this urban chaos and civic nightmare. Thanks for watching this broadcast. We're back with the headlines in just 2 minutes. Stay with us.